Hi, I'm Joanna from Custom Quilts, and today I'm going to show y'all how to do pebbles, but it's kind of a different way of doing pebbles. And so I don't know if you've ever quilted pebbles as a fill or a background or something like that, but if you're doing pebbles that are really small, it takes forever, like forever. Like you might as well camp out and just make yourself comfortable. So what I'm going to show you how to do today is how to vary the size of your pebbles. And I like to call these river rocks because they're all different sizes and they're round and smooth, and some are oblong and some are small. And they just kind of look really cool. Some of them look like little jelly beans once you get done. And so the great thing about this motif is you're not worried about keeping all of your little pebbles the same size. So you can kind of breathe a sigh of relief. You know, take a deep breath. The pressure's off. You don't have to make all these little circles the exact same size. And it's just kind of an easygoing fill. So you'll have to excuse me. I'm doing this one-handed so my other handlebar doesn't get in the way of the camera. So they may look a little bit sloppy until I really get going a little bit more. But definitely always you want to use two hands for more control. This is not the ideal way to do it. So all I'm doing is quilting some round shapes, and I'm just varying the sizes of my pebbles. So I'll quilt in kind of some big ones, and then I'll go in and I'll fill the little spaces with other shapes. So like in here, I'll do an oblong one. And you kind of want to watch where you're putting your large versus your round pebbles. Because if you do too many round ones all in a row, then it starts to look like they're just stacked on top of each other. So definitely up here, I'm not going to do another great big one. I'm going to do some small ones to vary it up a little bit. There we go. That looks good. Now do an oblong one, elongated. Do a little bitty one right there. And so whenever I'm quilting these, I'm kind of watching that I'm not backtracking over the same line multiple times, just because the more you backtrack, like you can see this line here is more defined than this line because this is only stitched over once. And so just make sure you're not going round and round and round the same lines over and over again, because that's going to define one shape more than another. And more often than not, you're probably going to be using a blending thread when you're doing these and not a contrasting one like this. I think I'm using super white so that it really pops from this darker blue background. But just make sure that you're considering your thread color and the type of batting that you're using. I'm just using kind of a throwaway piece that I had extra. And typically I would use a higher loft batting for this, like wool, so that the quilting puffs up a little bit more. Oh, that was sloppy. Good thing this is a practice piece. Okay, so you can see how cool the effect of this is, the small and the big all together. And it really creates kind of a cool flow and definitely some good texture. And you can see I kind of got in a rut over here and I was doing a bunch the same size. But there really isn't a whole lot to say about this motif. It's just a bunch of circles and they're all different sizes. They're really forgivable because there's so much going on. If you mess up and make a little mistake, just quilt some other smaller pebbles around that, and that will help disguise or camouflage the little blemish. But really, even if it's a little mistake, that just adds character to it, I think. And so this is really great for adding texture. I hope you'll give this one a shot.